The day I finalized my divorce from Lu Yanchuan, I received a call from the hospital. They apologized to me, saying they made a mistake with my checklist yesterday. The other sheet, for advanced heart failure, is actually mine. So, Miss Nan, please come to the hospital with your husband again, just like yesterday, to see me. I stood outside the Civil Affairs Bureau, watching Lu Yanchuan not far away as he hurriedly got into his car and slammed the door shut, fleeing as if from the plague. Husband, but I don't have it anymore. On the way to get a divorce with Lu Yanchuan, I suddenly coughed up blood. When the bloodstain spread across the tissue, I froze, and so did he. The car pulled over to the side of the road. The man turned to look at me, a strange expression on his face. It's more like worry than heartache. I'm worried that the divorce I finally agreed to might not go through. The car was dead silent for a long moment. I wiped the blood from the corner of my mouth with a tissue. And when I looked up, I happened to catch Lu Yanchuan's furrowed brow. Outside the window, the heavy rain had just cleared, and sunlight filtered through the misty air. After all these years, the face before me remains as beautiful as ever. My heart tightened slightly, and I averted my gaze. Lu Yanchuan couldn't hide the impatience on his face, yet his upbringing and manners ultimately compelled him to take me to the hospital first. He made a phone call halfway there. His tone was unusually gentle. "I'll be a bit delayed. I'll come over in the afternoon." I turned my head to look out the window, pretending not to hear, pretending not to know who was on the other end. It suddenly struck me that there had been a torrential downpour in Kyoto that morning, with visibility less than 10 meters. Before it was even 8 o'clock, Lu Yanchuan had already driven over and was waiting for me downstairs, probably in a hurry to finish the paperwork and get over there. The blood-stained tissue was clenched in the palm, causing a sharp pain between the fingers. After 7 years of marriage, the only thing that could make him rush to see me was, after all, divorce too. When I arrived at the hospital, I showed the blood-stained tissue to the doctor. The doctor asked a lot of questions and then prescribed a thick stack of lab test forms. Queue up, get examined. It was past noon, but the results still hadn't come out. Lu Yanchuan kept glancing at his phone, his expression growing darker by the minute. He went to the lab and asked several times until he got a reply. The doctors take a break at noon, so all the results probably won't be ready until around 4 p.m. When his phone rang again, I said calmly, "Maybe you should go first. As for the Civil Affairs Bureau, can we go tomorrow instead?" Lu Yanchuan almost looked relieved. After hesitating briefly out of politeness, he nodded and said, "Call me if anything comes up." The man quickly walked into the elevator, pulling out his phone and putting it to his ear. The gentle murmuring voice came to me in fragments, slowly fading into the distance. I watched his retreating figure. Unsurprisingly, there's no turning back. I sat alone on the bench in the hallway, waiting. Last night, I suddenly got a sharp pain in my chest in the middle of the night, threw up acidic liquid a few times, and couldn't sleep all night. Sitting here now, surrounded by a deafening din, a heavy wave of drowsiness washes over me. I closed my eyes, meaning to take a nap, and before I knew it, I drifted into a deep sleep. I drifted in and out of sleep, not knowing how long I had been out. When I woke up, it seemed darker outside the window. Someone walked past me, and I caught the smell of a boxed lunch. I pulled out my phone and checked the time. It was already past 5 in the afternoon. I heard a girl crying, oppressed, helpless, and heartbreaking to hear. When I looked up, I saw a girl crouching and curling up in the corner not far from me. She looked to be in her early 20s, sobbing incessantly, a truly pitiful sight. There are far too many pitiful souls in hospitals, and cries of sorrow echo through them every single day. I'm not doing so well myself, so I really don't feel fit to comfort others. I stood up to leave. The girl seemed to have cried herself into exhaustion, and the test results sheet clutched in her hand slipped to the ground. Silently, it drifted to my feet. I lowered my eyes and saw the diagnosis of end-stage left heart failure written on it. Then, quite by chance, I caught sight of the name Nanchu after the patient's name and couldn't help but pause in surprise. 3, so young, yet struck by such an incurable disease. I did feel a bit of sympathy after all. I even began to think that maybe the name Nanchu was inherently unlucky. I opened my bag, took out a tissue, walked over, and handed it to her. "Here, wipe your face. I'm really not good at comforting people." The girl looked up, her face streaked with tears, as if the world had come crashing down. She took the tissue from me, and her thank you came out in a tearful voice, barely audible. Before I could speak again, someone suddenly rushed over from behind me. It was too fast and hit me right in the shoulder. She was a woman in her 50s, in the dead of winter. The snow on her coat had yet to melt, yet her forehead was already beaded with sweat. Clearly, she rushed over anxiously from outside the hospital. She rushed over, her eyes reddened, and tightly embraced the girl. standing in front of me. My precious child, my poor precious child, don't be afraid, Mama's here, I'll give you my heart. The girl's stifled sobs instantly turned into terrified wails. Mom, I'm scared, I don't want to die. I looked at them, and suddenly it came to me. Many years ago, my mother also called me my little one. She's from the south and came to Kyoto with my dad many years ago, but she still can't shake off her accent. She died when I was 8, no one has ever called me that. Again, my eyes were a bit sore, so I looked away, seeing the elevator doors open in the distance. Several people rushed out, a man in a suit, an elderly woman with white hair, young people and middle-aged ones, about 6 or 7 of them, all with anxious expressions, hurried over this way. In the blink of an eye, the girl who had been crying alone in the corner just minutes ago was surrounded by a crowd, voices of comfort, sobbing, and brainstorming all mingled together. I crouched down and picked up the bag that had been knocked to the ground. He turned around and picked up his own test report. It's not a big deal. The doctor just prescribed some medicine and let me go. As I stepped out of the clinic, the weather that had cleared up from heavy rain in the morning was now turning gloomy again, with snow beginning to fall. How strange. I pulled my coat tighter and covered my head with my bag to shield against the snow, then walked to the street to hail a taxi. No one is waiting for me, and no one will come to pick me up. Last night I had a dream about that girl crying in the hospital. Surrounded by a crowd of people, waking from a dream, all I could see was the pitch-black night. I think I might be truly insane. In that fleeting moment, I almost felt a twinge of envy for the girl with the terminal illness. Li Yanchuan called me just as the sky was beginning to lighten. He said, "I'm downstairs." It took me a long, stunned moment to remember that the divorce proceedings had been rescheduled to today, for the snow outside still hasn't stopped. Only when I pulled open the car door to get in did I realize someone was already sitting in the passenger seat. Lin Xiaoxiao turned around to look at me, a hint of apology in her expression. Her gentle eyes and soft brows were very pleasing to the eye. Li Yanchuan started the car and explained casually, "Xiaoxiao had a bit of a cough this morning, so I'm taking her to grab some medicine on the way." I looked out the car window and said nothing. We're about to get divorced anyway, so his business is none of mine. This time, the paperwork went smoothly, with the divorce certificate in hand. As we walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau, Lu Yanchuan took off his overcoat and wrapped it around Lin Xiaoxiao. He turned back to look at me and said, "Xiaoxiao has to go buy some medicine, so it's not exactly on the way. Do you need me to take you home first?" As if he'd actually send me home if I said need. I shook my head and said, "No need." He immediately popped open the umbrella, pulled Lin Xiaoxiao close, and stepped into the wind and snow. After 7 years, he no longer had to keep up the pretense of a harmonious relationship with me. No more sneaking around, crossing half the city in the early hours of the morning, just to catch a fleeting glimpse of Lin Xiaoxiao before dawn. I watched them gradually walk away, and it wasn't until my phone in my bag had been ringing for a while that I snapped back to reality. Taking a gentle breath, I answered the call. Maybe I was feeling a bit lightheaded. The middle-aged man's voice on the other end came through in fragments, and it took me a while to piece together what he was saying. "End stage left heart failure. Mixing up your test results was our mistake. Miss Nan, I'm truly sorry. This was an error on our hospital's part. We will take serious disciplinary action against the personnel involved." I finally understood. He said the diagnosis sheet that drifted to my feet yesterday wasn't from the girl who shares my name, but mine, so, the one who is dying and should be crouching in a corner, weeping bitterly, is me. A chill crept up my spine as I watched the man, his arm around Lin Xiaoxiao, slowly walk away into the distance. Without thinking, I blurted out, "Li Yanchuan, it's like someone who suddenly falls into water, instinctively reaching out to grab onto anything." Li Yanchuan opened the passenger door for Lin Xiaoxiao and let her get in first. He turned around and looked over when he heard my voice. On the other end of the line, the doctor's voice continued. "So, Miss Nan, please come to the hospital with your husband to see me again." Just like yesterday, my gaze drifted to Li Yanchuan in the distance. I hurried toward him through the snow, my steps uneven and urgent. To be honest, I know perfectly well that Li Yanchuan won't look out for me, yet I don't know why. I still walked toward him. He seemed so gentle, but as I got closer, I finally saw the indifference in his eyes. When I spoke, my voice trembled a little. Could I? My words never finished. They were cut off after all. Li Yanchuan frowned slightly. "Nanchu, we're already divorced." 5-0. They're already divorced, but still, we were husband and wife for 7 years. I was truly panicked for a moment, with no idea who else I could turn to. His fingers clenched into fists, the cold sweat seeping out in the freezing weather. I tentatively spoke up again. "The hospital called. They said my illness Perhaps if I told him outright that it's a terminal illness, he might still have a sliver of kindness left and agree to go with me. Being alone, I still feel a bit hesitant to go to the hospital and face it by myself. Even after all these years, there really isn't much of a bond between us. The car window rolled down, and Lin Zhaozhao leaned out, looking concerned. Yanchuan, are you okay? Lu Yanchuan has always been quite the gentleman over the years. He's clearly disliked me, yet most of the time he's managed to keep up a facade of politeness and decency, but perhaps it's truly detestable of me to keep clinging on like this even after the divorce. He finally grew a bit impatient. If it's because of some illness, if it's serious, I can cover half of the medical expenses for you. Just send me the bill when the time comes. So no matter how serious the illness, it would never be a reason for him to stay with me even a second longer. With that, the man walked around to the passenger side, got in, and drove off. I still went to the hospital alone. As soon as I reached the doctor's office, I could hear a commotion inside. It sounded like some family members were causing trouble. You think a simple misdiagnosis makes it all okay? Do you have any idea my daughter cried herself to sleep all night? She already handed in her resignation to the company and nearly tried to take her own life. How could you misdiagnose something as serious as a terminal illness? Do you have any idea how much harm this has caused my daughter? Mixed in were the repeated apologies from the doctor in the hospital. As I walked through the door, the doctor who had attended to me yesterday quickly noticed my presence. The unease on her face deepened. Miss Nan, you're here. The girl who was crouching in the corner crying yesterday glanced sideways at me and froze for a moment. Sister, is it you? Are you Nan Chu? I nodded. Sympathy immediately flickered across her face. After a moment of flustered hesitation, she hurriedly tried to stop her mother. Mom, stop it. Please stop. The woman who had been furiously interrogating me just moments before followed her daughter's gaze to me and quickly understood. The person truly afflicted with a terminal illness arrived. For them, perhaps, an unbearable misdiagnosis suddenly felt more like a narrow escape from death. The woman seemed to suddenly cool down, her expression shifting to full sympathy as she was led away by her daughter. I was a premature baby, and I've had a heart condition since birth, so I have a fairly good understanding of various heart diseases, and I've long heard of heart failure as well. To put it bluntly, there's almost nothing left but to wait for death. After listening to the doctor's euphemistic explanations for a while, I simply asked, how long do I have left? 6. The male doctor's face showed undisguised pity. After a long pause, he finally spoke again. Miss, you need to call your family over. I need to speak with them first. It seems it's at most 3 to 5 months. Doctors can't exactly come out and tell a patient they don't have long to live. If the patient can't accept it and becomes suicidal, it would be very difficult for the hospital to handle the situation. I was about to say I have no family, but then I remembered, I still have a father. Even though they've been estranged all these years, their daughter is about to die. Maybe they'll finally step in. I left the hospital. I'm reminded again of yesterday. The girl surrounded by her family and friends. If I die, will my family be sad? I took a cab and went home after my mom passed away. My dad remarried, but he told me that this house will always belong to the three of us, and no fourth person will ever set foot in it. He said, Xiao Chu, Dad needs a new life, but Xiao Chu and Mom will always be the most important people in Dad's heart, so he should be looking out for me. I pushed the door open while pulling out my phone to call my dad and ask him to come back. The door swung open, and the lively chatter and laughter from inside came bursting forth abruptly. I looked over, and the living room lights were too bright, a bit glaring. At the dining table, Nanyue sat there. Sitting on either side of her were my father and stepmother. In the center of the dining table sat a large pink cake. Nanyue, wearing a birthday crown, stood up and was about to blow out the candles. Hearing the noise, she looked over and met my gaze. My dad was holding his phone to take a photo, and on his slightly aging face, wrinkles crinkled around his eyes and brows as he smiled. I really came at a bad time. His smile froze abruptly when he saw me. His phone dropped to the ground. Flustered, he scrambled to his feet and stammered, Xiao Chu, Yaya said she's coming over. I turned around and left. Nanyue's furious voice still reached my ears. What the hell? This is Dad's house, and technically half of it belongs to me. Why can't Mom and I come here? My dad chased after me, calling out urgently, Xiao Chu, this time it's my fault. Dad asked Auntie and Yaya to go back now. Let's talk things out properly, just father and daughter. Nanyue screamed. Why, Nanchu, who are you taking your anger out on? Don't think I don't know, Lin Zhaozhao is back, and brother Yanchuan is asking you for a divorce. Even your own husband doesn't want you anymore, and you only dare to bully us. A family of 3, 7, a family of 3, a family of 3. My body swayed, and my vision inexplicably went dark. Then came my dad's urgent voice. Yeah, don't talk nonsense. Normally, I might have argued with Nanyue, but today, I truly didn't have an ounce of strength left. I quickened my pace until the chaotic sounds behind me finally faded away. I hailed a taxi and left. In the rearview mirror, the long road stretched empty, devoid of anything. Despite all his sweet talk, my dad never did come after me. I had nowhere else to go for the moment, so I gave out the address of the wedding room Li Yanchuan and I shared. During the division of assets in my divorce with Li Yanchuan, I only asked for that one house when it came to the properties. It's only been 7 years, but I've gotten used to living here and don't feel like adapting to a new place. I've already changed the password on the fingerprint lock there. This time, no one else but me can get in. I leaned back against the taxi seat, trying to calm myself down and stop thinking about what had just happened. The doctor said that in the late stages of heart failure, emotional ups and downs are the most dangerous. Otherwise, sudden death could happen at any moment. I'm not planning to die anytime soon either. Halfway through the drive, my phone rang. I thought it was my dad, but a glance at the caller ID showed it was Liu Yanchuan. For him to call me on his own initiative was a first in history. I'm so exhausted that I really can't bear to listen to his hypocritical voice. Press the hang up button, but for some unknown reason, they kept calling back, over and over. Without end, I pressed the answer button. They were as politely hypocritical as ever, beating around the bush for ages with nothing but trivial, meaningless remarks. He asked how I was feeling, and then asked what the doctor had said this morning, as if he actually cared. I was genuinely exhausted just watching him, so I couldn't help but cut him off. Just tell me what it is. Li Yanchuan finally got down to business. Can I have that house in the south of the city? Zhao Zhao loves the winter suite in the courtyard there. You can pick any of my other properties. Take an extra one if you like. The house in the south of the city was our wedding home. I knew it. When he calls me out of the blue, it can only mean one thing. Every single one of them likes to come and take over my house. Maybe the taxi's heater was on, making it unbearably stuffy inside. My head felt like it was splitting open. It was a long moment before I could catch my breath and speak. Lin Zhaozhao, have you been there to see it? There was a rare hint of guilt in Liu Yanchuan's voice. Just happened to pass by once. How could Lin Zhaozhao just happen to pass by a high-end, heavily guarded villa district where no outside vehicles or people can get in? I almost laughed, but couldn't quite manage it. I took a slow, deep breath. After a long while, the reply came from the other side. No. The false cordiality in Liu Yanchuan's demeanor instantly faded. It's just one house. Trade it for 2 villas instead. You'll come out ahead. No risk at all. No swap. I didn't hesitate for a second. Picking up from where they left off, a thick fog seemed to clog my chest, and I almost couldn't catch my breath. Li Yanchuan finally dropped the pretense, his voice growing impatient. Nanchu, why must you do this? I don't know where this sudden anger came from, but I lost control for a moment and shouted out. I said no, and no means no. The driver in front glanced over from the rearview mirror. I clenched my fists so tightly that my palms ached, struggling to calm myself down. That side seemed to be getting a bit angry and embarrassed. Nanchu, I'm giving you 70% of the marital assets and keeping 30% for myself. I think I've treated you fairly. Speaking of which, if it weren't for you, why would Zhao Zhao and I have had to wait until today to finally be together again? It's just a house. Since Zhao Zhao likes it, why are you so keen on keeping it for yourself, after 7 years of marriage? This was the first time I had ever heard Li Yanchuan say so much. Hatred buried deep in the heart for too long will eventually find a day to erupt. I tried desperately to stay calm, but my whole body still started trembling uncontrollably, my eyes stinging. I let out a cold laugh. Then go ahead and sue me. See if you can take the house. They didn't have the patience to let me finish and cut me off, saying, I'll meet you in person tomorrow to discuss this. Before I could say another word, the call was hung up directly. The breath that rushed to my throat can neither come out nor go down. A sharp pain stabbed through my chest. I opened the window, my trembling hand itching to hurl the phone out, but in the end, slowly, he lowered his hand. So what if I threw it out? I put down my phone, raised my trembling hands, and buried my face in my palms. I feel like crying for some reason, but no tears come. Everyone says I like to hog things, but it was them who made the promise first, who said they would be good to me. A sharp pain in my chest. With uncontrollable coughing, the phone rang again. My vision was blurry. I answered the call and vented furiously. I'm not talking to you, it's no use coming to me, if you have a problem, just sue me. After a long silence, the man's gentle, puzzled voice came through. Xiao Chu, what's wrong? 9. I was taken aback for a moment, only then did I glance at my phone and realize that the caller was Zhou Xi. It's not Li Yanchuan. When my mother was still alive, she and Zhou Xi's mother were close friends for many years, thus, I have had quite a lot of dealings with Zhou Xi as well. He's considered my partner now. We were classmates at the art academy in college, and after graduation, we opened a gallery together. I just remembered, there's an art exhibition in the city tomorrow. I had already made plans with him to go together tonight. I tried to calm down and apologize to him, saying that something had come up last minute, so I wouldn't be able to make it to the art exhibition. I've set up another meeting with him to chat in person when we're both free. Given my current situation, I'm definitely not up to managing the gallery. I was thinking I should talk to him about liquidating the gallery's assets and then transferring the gallery solely to his name. I'm exhausted. I don't want to talk about the reasons right now. Luckily, they didn't press for details either. After exchanging a few brief pleasantries, the call ended. I returned home, and as I reached the doorstep, I saw tire tracks pressed into the snow. Lu Yanchuan was here, not long ago. He must have brought Lin Zhaozhao along, standing right here through the wrought iron gate, watching the potted wintersweet in full bloom amid the heavy snow in the front yard. But I changed the door lock code, so they couldn't get in. Lin Zhaozhao has always had a soft spot for flowers and plants. No wonder Li Yanchuan called me late at night, asking me to give up the house to her. I opened the door and went inside. My phone let out a ding, and a message from Lu Yanchuan came through. See you at the usual coffee shop tomorrow at 3 p.m. The phone was clenched so tightly in my palm that it dug painfully into my fingers. Lu Yanchuan's words echoed in my mind once more. If it weren't for you, why would Zhao Zhao and I have had to wait until today to finally be together again? A coppery sweetness surged in my throat, my hands trembling. I hurled the phone into the snow with all my might. He picked up the pots of wintersweet again and smashed them all onto the ground in one go. I thought, let it all be destroyed, let everything be destroyed, nobody gets it. 10. However, these wintersweet plants have been potted for so long that they are already deeply rooted. The ground is soft with thick snow covering the grass. I threw them to the ground with force, but among so many pots, only one broke. I stood in the snow, blankly staring at the pots lying all over the ground in a mess. After watching for a long time, I suddenly felt a pang of heartache again. I crouched down, lifted each pot one by one, and set them back in place. But they are all flowers I planted with my own hands. If it really breaks, it's only my own stuff that gets broken. What Lin Zhaozhao truly wanted was not these wintersweet blossoms. It's broken, and no one else will be sad about it, only me. A chill wind swept across the snowy ground just as I set down the last pot of wintersweet. The biting cold poured into my mouth and nose, and I couldn't stop coughing violently. A trace of blood spread across the dim snowy ground, like plum blossom petals falling to the earth. But my wintersweet is yellow, while the one on the ground is red. For some reason, my coughing just wouldn't stop. My chest feels so tight it aches, I can't breathe, and I keep gagging uncontrollably. As my vision blurred, the red plum petals on the ground multiplied, until my sight went black and I collapsed. Just as my body was about to hit the ground, someone caught me by the shoulder. I struggled to lift my gaze, but before I could make out who it was, I slipped into unconsciousness. I feel like I've been asleep for a long time. Sometimes it really feels like bad luck. I rarely get a good night's sleep and have a dream, but as it turned out, it was a nightmare, and in it, I saw Lu Yanchuan. Dreamed of the 7 years with him. 7 years ago, I was going to marry Lu Yanchuan. Actually, it wasn't me who asked for it. It was Lu Yanchuan who pursued me persistently first. At that time, the Lu family and my family were considering a marriage alliance. I've barely even met Lu Yanchuan a few times, so naturally I didn't agree, but Lu Yanchuan came to me and said that he truly likes me. He mentioned that during college, he came to the art academy to play ball with a friend, saw me painting, and fell in love at first sight. I didn't take it seriously, thinking he was either joking or just acting on a whim, but he started pursuing me with genuine sincerity. An umbrella on rainy days, flowers on holidays, and a warm drink when the temperature dropped. When he looked at me, his eyes were always so gentle and affectionate. A person's eyes are always the hardest to deceive, so I gradually started to think that maybe he really does like me. Later, on New Year's Eve, I stayed home alone to ring in the New Year. Night fell, and all around was dead silent and cold. He braved the pouring rain late at night and traveled across half the city just to bring me a portion of dumplings he had made himself. The dumplings were a bit too salty. I frowned. After just one bite, he apologized to me with great embarrassment. This is my first time making it. I'll definitely use less salt next time. Because of that plate of dumplings on New Year's Eve, I agreed to marry him. Maybe it's because the last time I had dumplings was on New Year's Eve, back when I was 8, and my mom was still alive. Maybe it's because after so many years, there's finally someone who's willing to spend New Year's Eve with me. Later, on our wedding night, I happened to find a photo of a girl in his desk drawer. That was the first time I saw Lin Xiaoxiao's face. Li Yanchuan didn't lie to me. He looked so frank, saying Lin Xiaoxiao was his ex-girlfriend. Then he held me tight and promised, everyone has a past, but from now on, in my eyes, there will only ever be Nan Chu, never Lin Xiaoxiao. I nodded. I thought, just an ex. Until nearly a month into the marriage, we started trying to conceive. I went to the hospital's obstetrics and gynecology department for a check up and saw Lin Xiaoxiao in person for the first time. She was gripping a pregnancy test result in her hand. She was pregnant, 12. I didn't take it to heart and left the hospital. My life with Li Yanchuan goes on as usual. He is still the husband who loves me the most, still attentive in every way, still with eyes full of deep affection, until one day, he rushed back to confront me, almost hysterically. That was the first time I saw him lose his temper, filled with hatred. His face twisted in fury. He roared in rage, "Stop pretending, Nan Chu. That day you saw Lin Xiaoxiao, you knew she was pregnant and had an abortion. You deliberately kept it from me. You purposely didn't tell me. It was only then that I vaguely realized the fetus was his. Now he's the one turning around and questioning me. I found it ridiculous. What act was I putting on? Did I ever say I hadn't seen her? And why would I go out of my way to tell you?" He was the one who told me himself. From then on, as far as he was concerned, there was only Nan Chu, no Lin Xiaoxiao. The child that Lin Xiaoxiao was carrying was conceived before Li Yanchuan and I got married. Lin Xiaoxiao was over 3 months pregnant, and the abortion carried immense risks, nearly costing her life. But what does that have to do with me? Li Yanchuan clenched his fists, the veins on his forehead bulging. He was truly anguished. If only I had known, if only I had found out sooner, that she was pregnant. His voice trailed off. I sneered and asked him, if you had known sooner, then what? What an obvious answer. If he had known earlier, he wouldn't have parted ways with Lin Xiaoxiao, and he wouldn't have married me. But when exactly did I ever agree to be either his option A or option B? What I've always wanted is nothing less than all of his love. He said he gave me everything, too. Slowly, I finally came to understand a lot of things. Li Yanchuan has a very strained relationship with his father. His father has a mistress and an illegitimate child outside, and even plans to bring them home to fight Li Yanchuan for the company. Li Yanchuan married me only to increase his leverage. He wanted to seize the company as soon as possible and take revenge on his father, and I was just one of his tools. When Li Yanchuan went to the Academy of Fine Arts during college, it wasn't to play ball with friends, but to see Lin Xiaoxiao from the academy. The dumplings Li Yanchuan brought me on New Year's Eve weren't actually made by him. It's just one of those heat and eat boxes I grabbed at the supermarket. Those dumplings are too salty and not tasty, so eventually, they stopped selling it in supermarkets too. I was so moved by a box of cheap, 19.9 yuan dumplings that I ended up marrying Li Yanchuan. After I fell out with Li Yanchuan, I once overheard him talking to his friends while he was drunk. Nan Chu, you know, hardly anyone's ever been kind to her. Even if the dumplings cost just 1.99 or even 0.99 yuan, let alone 19.99, she would be moved to tears. After he successfully seized control of his own company, he started pushing for a divorce from me for Lin Xiaoxiao's sake. I stubbornly refused to agree, letting years slip away. For the sake of his reputation, he still looks at me with feigned affection in front of others. Only then did I realize that the deep affection in his eyes when we first met was all an act. Nothing is real. 13. I woke with a start from my dream, only to find myself lying in my own bedroom at home. Outside, it was already broad daylight. My face felt a little damp, so I reached up and touched the tears at the corners of my eyes. It's actually pretty disgusting when I think about it. I actually shed tears over someone like that. Zhou Xi sat by my bedside, his eyes red and swollen. Last night in the snow, he saw me coughing up blood and then took me back to the bedroom. Then, in my bedside table, I found my diagnosis report. He knows about my illness. I looked at him, and he looked back at me. The bedroom fell into a dead silence, and for a long time, neither of us said a word. After a while, I finally spoke softly. I'm fine, just like Li Yanchuan said. Nan Chu, no one really treats her well. If I die, it's not like anyone would care anyway. Zhou Xi reached out to help me up. Nan Chu, I'll take you to the hospital. I sighed and said, forget it. the doctor told me to save my strength and stop pushing myself so hard, so I can live a few more days. The doctor didn't say it, but that's the truth of the matter. Zhou Xi looked at me with red-rimmed eyes and said, there must be another way. Let's go ask the hospital again. I'm telling you, it's really not worth wasting your time. But just as the words were about to leave my lips, I suddenly remembered the girl I had seen at the hospital a few days ago. After she was misdiagnosed, her family knew it was a dead end, yet they still racked their brains to come up with ideas and advice for her. To have someone by your side, even just to put up a last-ditch fight, knowing the outcome can't be changed, still feels like a kind of happiness. Suddenly, I want to feel it too, so I forced a smile and nodded. Okay, I'm not sure if it's because of heart failure or if I caught a chill yesterday, but now I'm running a high fever. I gave it a try, but I really couldn't get out of bed. Zhou Xi simply reached out and scooped me up in his arms. In all the years we've been partners running the gallery, our relationship has always been as pure as plain water. Being suddenly this close to him, my instinct was to pull away. Zhou Xi frowned and said in a low voice, this is no time for you to be worrying about that. I didn't feel like saying anything more. He carried me downstairs and out through the front door. Across the front yard, I saw Lu Yanchuan's car parked outside the wrought iron gate. Lu Yanchuan was leaning against the car door, smoking, just watching as Zhou Xi and I came out. Calm expression, no reaction. He never loved me anyway, so there's really no need for him to react. Zhou Xi's car was also parked outside the iron gate, so he carried me out, walking right past Lu Yanchuan. As I brushed past him, I heard Lu Yanchuan let out a soft snicker. Do you really enjoy using things that others have already used? 14. A sudden fury flashed across Zhou Xi's face. After pulling open the car door and placing me in the passenger seat, he turned around, ready to throw a punch. I immediately reached out and grabbed his arm. Forget it. Let's go. Zhou Xi gritted his teeth and gave up. Lu Yanchuan shot a contemptuous glance over, clicked his tongue lightly, and said, not afraid of getting dirty. Zhou Xi could no longer hold back. Clenching his fist, he spun around and threw a vicious punch. When I just passed by Lu Yanchuan, I caught a strong smell of alcohol on him. I watched him take a punch from Zhou Xi, then land one right back on Zhou Xi's face. I even felt like Lu Yanchuan was drunk and mistook me for Lin Zhaozhao. Otherwise, given his utter lack of affection for me over all these years, there was simply no reason for him to waste his time like this and pick a fight with Zhou Xi. I looked outside and saw Zhou Xi gradually losing the upper hand. I'm a bit worried that Zhou Xi might hurt his hand. He's a painter, so his hands are more precious than others. Besides, he shouldn't have been dragged into this in the first place, so I forced myself to push open the car door and get out, helping Zhou Xi to his feet. Then I blocked Lu Yanchuan's path, lifting my eyes to glare coldly at him. If you have something to say, just say it directly. Don't put on airs and drag others into it. Anyone watching would think he was acting jealous. Lu Yanchuan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth with the back of his hand, then his face returned to its usual calm expression. It's as if he wasn't the one who just hurled insults and threw punches. He said coldly, I told you, name your price. Zhao Zhao likes this house. Even at this very moment, when he looked at me, he could still put on such a mask of tender affection and hypocrisy. I remained silent for a moment before saying, what if I still say no? Lu Yanchuan let out a low chuckle. He always goes after what he wants with unwavering determination. Nanchu, you might not have read the divorce agreement carefully. What I wrote is that one of the houses in this villa complex belongs to you, but here, I actually own 2 apartments. Who knows which set I meant to give you? I was taken aback for a moment. He was a businessman through and through. There was no flaw he couldn't find. Lu Yanchuan's expression radiated confidence as he continued in a calm tone, you don't stand a chance in court. Rather than waste time, you might as well move out sooner. Zhou Xi, outraged on my behalf, gritted his teeth and charged over to throw another punch. After 7 years of marriage, you're this relentless. Lu Yanchuan, do you even have a heart? Do you even know that Nanchu Shi? 15. I cut Zhou Xi off urgently. Stop talking. Lu Yanchuan wouldn't care. He resents me for dragging out the divorce all these years, keeping him apart from Lin Zhaozhao for so long. If he found out I was terminally ill and about to die, he'd probably be the first to clap and cheer. I don't want to be made a fool of either. Zhou Xi threw a punch, but this time, Lu Yanchuan caught his wrist. I could almost hear the sound of a bone breaking in the next moment, hurriedly grabbing Lu Yanchuan's arm, trying to make him let go. A flicker of impatience crossed Lu Yanchuan's face as he shook me off with a backhanded motion. My vision was already blurry, and when I was shoved, I lost my balance and stumbled clumsily to the ground. The tightness in my chest returned with a vengeance, and the metallic taste of blood suddenly surged up my throat. Before I could even raise my hand to cover my mouth, blood was already spreading across the floor. I was still furiously demanding something. A ringing began to buzz in my head, and his words started to fade into unintelligible noise. Lu Yanchuan did not respond to Zhou Ci's words. As I struggled to get up, I looked up and saw him staring blankly at the bloodstains on the floor, his expression frozen. Then, as if with some effort, he slowly turned his head to look at me. It wasn't the first time he had seen me coughing up blood. Last time it happened in the car. He was a bit surprised but remained fairly calm, and took me to the hospital. But this time, maybe it was because my face was too pale, or perhaps the blood against the white snow was simply too glaring. After all, he looked stunned, with an almost comical expression of terror, and was speechless for a long moment. Zhou Ci hurried over and helped me to my feet. He then apologized to me with guilt and unease. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have wasted time with him. Let's go to the hospital first. Just as I was about to get on the bus, Lu Yanchuan finally turned around. As if waking from a dream, he strode over quickly and grabbed my arm. Nanchu, tell me. Explain yourself. I turned around and looked at him. Ask me to clarify. What? He couldn't say it himself. I reached out and gently pushed his hand away. Let's call it a day. Even with all the grudges between us, I'm dying soon, so I don't want to be tangled up with him anymore. I slowly let out a breath and spoke softly. The house is yours. I'll change the password back in 3 days. Make sure all my stuff is moved out by then. Lu Yanchuan opened his mouth as if to speak, but no words came out. He reached out his hand, which was actually trembling slightly, as if testing. His fingertip brushed against the trace of blood at the corner of my mouth. Looking down once more at the blood on her fingers, she stared as if unable to comprehend it. I got in the car and, through the window, took one last look at him and said, let's just leave a shred of dignity. Lu Yanchuan, let's never see each other again from now on. 16. I'm leaving. Lu Yanchuan, however, reached out and pressed his hand against the car window, refusing to let go no matter what. Over the years, I've often thought that with acting skills like his, it's a real shame he didn't go into the entertainment industry. He clearly doesn't care about me, yet at this moment he seems so flustered and unsettled. Nanchu, what's the deal with the blood? Are you really hiding something from me? I looked at his face full of anxiety and couldn't help but laugh. What, are you actually going to pay my medical bills? Lu Yanchuan's expression froze for a moment. A man who was always so calm, composed, and articulate, now found himself stumbling over his words. No, I can. After all that talking, not a single complete sentence came out. I watched him calmly, seeing the confusion gradually spread across his face. Seeming to know that I would not tell him the truth, he fumbled almost frantically, pulling out his phone to make a call. I'll ask the doctor. Once I ask, I'll know. He pulled his hand back, and I immediately rolled up the window. In the rearview mirror, Lu Yanchuan was anxiously chasing after me, seemingly calling my name. I truly don't understand. We've been married for 7 years, and he has never once looked me in the eye. And now, who exactly is this meant to disgust? I looked in the rearview mirror, and his figure quickly receded until it vanished from sight. I took out my phone and sent him the door code. I also sent him a message letting him know that I'd come by another day to clear out all my stuff, then block and delete all his contact information. After finishing all that, I leaned back in the car seat and let out a soft, long sigh. In 7 years of marriage, I clung desperately to Lu Yanchuan, refusing to let go no matter what terms he offers, refused to divorce, just because I wanted to. I was deceived and manipulated by him, used as a pawn. If I'm not feeling good, he's not going to feel good either. If no one is having an easy time, then I haven't lost. But now, it's truly let go and over. I've only just realized that this is what it truly means to feel relieved, genuine liberation. Over these 7 years, I trapped not only Lu Yanchuan but also myself. Zhou Ci handed me a blanket and said, Nanchu, get some sleep, we'll be at the hospital soon. I took the blanket and joked with him, for the sake of you helping me punch Lu Yanchuan, I originally planned to liquidate the gallery's assets and split them with you, but now I'll give you everything. Upon hearing this, Zhou Ci laughed and said, then I'll go practice some kickboxing next time, and if I see him again, I'll still beat him up. We were all laughing, yet our eyes glistened with tears. Zhou Ci's voice trembled slightly. Nanchu, you're still so young, perhaps there's still hope after all. I was afraid tears might fall, so I closed my eyes. It's not that bad, actually. There's just one thing I really regret. 17. A bitter taste rose in my throat. I continued softly. If only I could turn back time. The first time I saw Lin Xiaoxiao 7 years ago, when Lu Yanchuan first asked me for a divorce, I should have agreed. Back then, I always thought I was young and had plenty of time, who couldn't outlast whom. Only now do I realize how incredibly long 7 years really is. I could have had 7 good years too, even without a family and without anyone's love. I shouldn't have ended up living so miserably. Zhou Xi was driving beside me, his voice filled with sorrow as he offered me halting comfort. I listened, gradually growing dazed, and slipped back into a drowsy slumber. When death draws near, sleep is always restless. I always wake up countless times during the night. I keep feeling drowsy like this during the day again. I've been sleeping in a daze for days again. When I woke up, I was in a strange place. Zhou Xi sat beside me and explained, "This is a somewhat remote nursing home. I was going to take you to the city hospital, but Lu Yanchuan and your dad have been looking for you multiple times, kicking up a fuss and refusing to leave. I thought it would disturb your rest, so I brought you here instead." I nodded, then asked, "Do they know?" Zhou Xi poured me some water and reheated some porridge, replying as he did, "No, they don't. Your previous doctor called and asked if you wanted to tell them. I answered the phone for you and told the doctor we'll check it once you wake up." After saying that, he cautiously asked me, "Nanchu, forget about Li Yanchuan, but since you're already in this state, maybe you should let your dad know." I remembered again the last time I saw my dad. He was celebrating Nanyue's birthday, with a large pink cake sitting on the dining table. Later, I left in the freezing snow, and he never chased after me again. My heart pricked as if stabbed. I shook my head. "No, thanks, he doesn't really care that much anyway. I don't have to witness that pitiful, begrudging sorrow of his." Zhou Xi ultimately said no more. He has his own things to take care of. Staying here with me for so many days has already delayed a lot of his work. I felt okay when I woke up, just a bit drowsy, and with an occasional ache in my chest, but nothing I couldn't handle. Just hired a caregiver and sent Zhou Xi back first. The nursing home was quiet and peaceful, ideal for recovery, yet my condition worsened day by day. Gradually, even getting out of bed became difficult. One afternoon, it suddenly came to me. Over half a month ago, I promised Lu Yanchuan that I would move all my things out within 3 days. 18. I've been getting so forgetful lately that I actually forgot about this. I blocked Lu Yanchuan's contact again. He probably can't reach me and must think I tricked him. Fuming with anger, I had dinner today and felt surprisingly good for once. Counting the days, today is old Madame Lu's birthday again. On this day in previous years, Lu Yanchuan would always go to the Lu family's old mansion to celebrate his grandmother's birthday and stay overnight there. Since Lu Yanchuan wasn't around, I could go move my stuff without having to run into him, so I asked the nurse for leave and took a taxi there. Luckily, the door lock code hasn't been changed yet. After I entered the password, I got in smoothly. I pushed open the entrance door, and it was pitch dark inside. I let out an unconscious sigh of relief. I don't even know what I'm so nervous about, as if I'm terrified of meeting him. I fumbled along the wall in the pitch black until I found the switch, and the living room light came on. As I walked inside, I suddenly met a pair of eyes. The man sat on the sofa, his expression blank, staring straight at me. I almost let out a scream, stumbled, and quickly reached out to steady myself against the entryway cabinet. Li Yanchuan let out a sneer. "Nanchu, what are you feeling guilty about?" I tried to steady my breath, but couldn't help finding it a bit amusing. I'm practically a ghost myself, yet I'm still afraid of ghosts. I have no idea why Li Yanchuan, who was supposed to be at the old mansion, is here, but it's not important either. I didn't come here to argue with him, so I just said, "I'll pack my things and leave." I headed straight upstairs, but as I passed the sofa, Lu Yanchuan suddenly reached out and grabbed my arm. His tone was sarcastic. "Shouldn't you have something to say to me?" I looked at him, utterly bewildered. "Say what?" I seriously doubt if he's lost his mind lately. He had another falling out with Lin Xiaoxiao and keeps taking his anger out on me. Lu Yanchuan looked down at me, scrutinizing as if examining a specimen. "For instance, on the very night of the divorce, you brought Zhou Xi home to spend the night, and you even had to carry him out the door. For instance, those delightful dates you had with Zhou Xi during the half-month you vanished. Are the snow-capped mountains in Cloud City beautiful?" 19. It took me a while to remember that Zhou Xi had posted on Moments a few days ago. Zhou's mother has been suffering from depression for many years. He accompanied her on a trip to the snowy mountains to help her relax and posted a status update. I was so furious that my temples were throbbing, the words of rebuttal were on the tip of my tongue, but then I thought, why should I even explain myself? Don't even mention that we're already divorced. Even during our 7 years of marriage, when were he and Lin Zhaozhao ever innocent? I met his gaze directly and sneered, what's it to you? Lu Yanchuan's hand, which was pressing on my arm, suddenly tightened its grip. How amazing that he can now lose his composure so easily in front of me. Anger and hatred flickered in his eyes as he pulled out his phone and thrust a video in front of me. I can't control that, but maybe you'll be begging me to. In the video, it was the scene of Zhou Ci's newly held art exhibition. The art exhibition was scheduled for this afternoon, and it was supposed to be held jointly by Zhou Ci and me, but due to health reasons, I delegated full authority to him to add more highlights. Zhou Ci discussed it with me beforehand and asked her mother for a few paintings to exhibit together at the art show. Zhou's mother has been a painter for decades and is quite well known in the art circle. However, as her depression has worsened in recent years, she has been considering stepping back from the public eye, so her paintings have rarely been exhibited. Rarity adds value, and these few paintings on display have generated tremendous buzz for the exhibition, drawing a particularly large crowd of visitors. In the video, the art exhibition went very smoothly until suddenly, someone shrieked, Isn't that Chairman Lu in the painting? No mistake, even the mole on the inside of the wrist is the same. This painting is quite suggestive. The hand Chairman Lu is holding seems to be Teacher Zhou's, doesn't it? Hasn't Chairman Lu been married with kids for a long time now? Mr. Lu Yanchuan, the CEO, is already over 30. What's going on between Teacher Zhou and Chairman Lu? There were rumors before that Teacher Zhou was involved with a married man and even had a child with him, which is why she's still unmarried to this day. It can't be true. The signature at the bottom of the painting was none other than Zhou's mother's name. Chaos quickly erupted. Zhou Ci rushed into the crowd and tore down the painting. He angrily demanded of the person in charge, who hung this painting here. My mother never painted anything like this. Who hung it up? Amid the chaos, the massive projector on the wall began flashing a series of photos. These were scenes of Mother Zhou in her youth, attending various occasions alongside Chairman Lu. One of the events has its schedule clearly listed online. At that time, Chairman Lu was already married. Someone in the crowd angrily shouted, the renowned painter, Teacher Zhou, turns out to be nothing but a homewrecker who seduces married women. Disgusting. I heard that Chairman Lu's wife passed away because she was driven to death by the mistress. I heard this gallery was co-founded by Teacher Zhou's son, Zhou Ci, and Lu Yanchuan's wife, Mrs. Lu. Those two are probably not innocent either. Mr. Lu just got divorced, like mother, like son. 20. The public doesn't know yet, but Lu Yanchuan and I are already divorced. The video ends in a complete mess. Almost all the paintings in the exhibition were smashed. Noises and curses too harsh for the ears. Zhou's mother collapsed unconscious from emotional agitation, while Zhou Ci's face was filled with anguish and despair. My hands were clenched into tight fists, and then, slowly, everything became clear. I looked up at Lu Yanchuan. So it was your father who deceived and betrayed Aunt Zhou back then. I've heard Zhou Ci mention it. Aunt Zhou had a boyfriend when she was young. Later, when she was 4 months pregnant and preparing for the wedding, she suddenly found out that her boyfriend already had a wife. The fetus cannot be aborted. Auntie Zhou initiated the breakup, and left alone while pregnant, she kept nothing that reminded her of that man. The painting at the exhibition is most likely not by Aunt Zhou. For all these years, almost no one has known about that part of the past, but I never imagined that the man would turn out to be Chairman Lu. Lu Yanchuan's eyes brimmed with hatred as he let out a scornful laugh. Deceived. Those who knowingly enter a love triangle always love to claim they were the ones being fooled. During those 7 years when Zhou Ci was involved with you in that ambiguous way, didn't he also not know that you were married? I snapped angrily. Stop talking nonsense. Lu Yanchuan looked down at me, the smile in his eyes gradually shifting back to that hypocritical gentleness. He fell silent. He was always best at pushing someone to the brink and then calmly waiting for them to lower their head or beg. Aunt Zhou's mental condition couldn't withstand much more provocation. I struggled to calm myself down, and after a long while, I forced out the words, go ahead, what do you want? I heard a very calm voice say, remarry. That's so absurd that I must have misheard it. What did you say? Lu Yanchuan repeated that sentence with casual indifference. I said, let's get remarried. 21. I really can't figure him out anymore. Lu Yanchuan, divorce is what you've been waiting 7 long years to finally get. Have you ever said something this ridiculous to Lin Zhaozhao? Lu Yanchuan sat back down on the sofa, with the faint click of a lighter. He lit a cigarette and stopped looking at me, as if he had lost all patience and couldn't be bothered to waste another word on me. I just can't stand seeing you happy even if I threw it away and no longer wanted it. There's no way that Josie would ever get to pick it up. Through the swirling smoke, he looked at me again. Besides, Nanchu, what are you pretending for? You agreed to marry me so suddenly back then, didn't you? Only because you found out about the entanglement between Josie and me, waiting to marry me and then dump me, just to get back at Josie. He had never said such words to me before. It took me a while to even process what you were saying. What are you talking about? Lu Yanchuan let out a cold snort. Did I say something wrong? Come on, you don't actually mean you married me just because of some lousy dumplings, do you? Just one measly portion of dumplings. Oh, so that's what he was thinking. My mind is in a terrible fog, too many twists and turns. I truly can't make sense of it anymore. And I don't want to be honest. I'm on the verge of death, divorces, and remarriages don't really matter anymore. I nodded. Okay. Lu Yanchuan looked slightly taken aback, as if caught off guard. Soon, it shifted into a knowing unsurprise. After a long moment, he stood up. Some other day, you can go now. He went straight upstairs without looking back at me. From beginning to end, he never truly intended to marry me, to exploit, to retaliate, for all sorts of reasons. The only thing it can't be is because you love me. I have left this place. As I walked out of the villa area to hail a taxi on the street, I noticed someone setting up a stall by the roadside selling late-night snacks and dumplings. It smells quite nice, a bit like a scent that's already become hazy in my memory. The vendor warmly called out to me, "Miss, it's really delicious. Want a serving?" I reached into my pocket. Suddenly, I remembered that plate of dumplings from many years ago, priced at yen 1990. Then there was Lu Yanchuan's remark, "Just because of that lousy dumpling." Never mind, I pulled my hand out of my pocket, hailed a taxi, and left. I went back to the sanatorium and continued to drift through my days in a daze. Whatever Lu Yanchuan did, the online uproar over Zhou Xie and his mother quickly died down. I called Zhou Xie and learned that his mother's condition has also stabilized and is not serious. The gallery sustained some losses, but most of them have been compensated, and operations are back to normal now. I managed to feel somewhat relieved. The next morning, Lu Yanchuan sent me a message. He told me to go to his place so we could head out together to handle the remarriage procedures. 22. I took a cab there. It just occurred to me that there's a photo of my mom and me in the bedroom over there. I once heard somewhere that when a person is dying, they can take a photo of their beloved with them. That way, in the next life, you won't lose your beloved. I don't have a lover. I only have my mom actually. Before marrying Lu Yanchuan, I had once dreamed of having a blissful and perfect marriage. After my mom passed away, I haven't felt much family warmth, so I deeply long for love. Because I've seen what love looks like through my parents, I've witnessed the beauty of love firsthand. Two people sat together on the couch watching TV, as raindrops tapped against the window. Two people cooking together in the kitchen, the aroma wafting through the air, as they chat about whether the dish is too bland or too salty. Maybe, even if it's just fighting together, just like what the biology teacher said in middle school. Humans are social creatures who need companionship and emotional connection. Actually, I wish someone could be with me and love me too. Unfortunately, I didn't get it. I should have found a lover to spend those 7 years with, yet all because of a deception, because I couldn't let go. And just to win a bet, I wasted myself on someone who didn't love me. Actually, it's not worth it. When I got home, the nanny told me that Lu Yanchuan was in the study upstairs. I went to my bedroom and found a photo of me and my mom. After waiting for ages, Lu Yanchuan still hadn't come out. I had no choice but to go over and knock on the study door. After no response from upstairs for quite a while, I had to go back downstairs and wait on the sofa. Sleepiness soon crept in again. Lately, I've been spending more than 2/3 of my time drifting in and out of sleep. I want to sleep, but I can't. The more you can't fall asleep or sleep well, the more you crave sleep. Rain is falling outside, droplets tapping against the floor-to-ceiling windows. Listening with my eyes closed, it feels like countless nights from long ago. On a rainy day, I sat with my parents on the living room couch watching TV. I leaned against my mom and gradually fell asleep. As I kept thinking, I felt as if I was leaning against my mom again. Soon, I fell into a real sleep. In a daze, a warm breath drew very close. I mumbled "Mom," and as I groggily opened my eyes, I suddenly met a pair of eyes with reddened corners. At such close distance, his lips touched mine. 23. A flicker of panic flashed in the man's eyes, and without hesitation, he reached out and grabbed my shoulder. The palm pressed down hard, causing a sharp pain. The taste of blood spread across my lips and teeth, like a bucket of ice water thrown over my head, jolting me abruptly awake. I struggled desperately to push him away, but he went mad and pressed my hands down even harder. For a split second, I even felt that the person before me wasn't Li Yanchuan. He's a madman. A complete and utter madman. He doesn't love me. He clearly doesn't love me. Time and time again. What on earth does he want? What the hell does he want to do? There was a piercing pain in my chest, blood rushing to my head, yet I felt a chill from head to toe. One hand broke free desperately, flew up, and landed a hard slap on his face. My eyes nearly split with rage as I trembled and screamed, "Are you insane? Get away from me." A clear handprint was left on one side of Li Yanchuan's face. He finally stopped moving. As if waking from a dream, he looked at me, staring intently. Such feigned affection, yet such deep-seated hatred, such hatred, yet such deep affection, as if split by schizophrenia, tearing out two completely different souls. I don't know how either. All these years, I've never really been willing to show weakness in front of him. At this moment, I suddenly felt a surge of grievance and a touch of sadness. Tears fell before I could stop them. I looked at him, and the more I did, the more unfamiliar he seemed. Li Yanchuan, when did you become like this? 24. The palm pressed against my wrist was extremely forceful. Li Yanchuan stared at me intensely. Then what do you think I should be like, Nanchu, in your eyes? Have I ever been even a little bit good? He's always been like this. He had me figured out from the very start, trapping me for 7 whole years, yet they can still be so self-righteous, shifting the blame onto me. I averted my gaze. I'm so exhausted. I've only got this much strength left. I wouldn't waste another word on him. Li Yanchuan rose to his feet, grabbed his coat from the side, and slipped it on. His voice reverted to its usual indifference. Let's go. He drove me to the Civil Affairs Bureau. The entire journey was silent, not a single word exchanged between us. While retaking the wedding group photo, the staff member glanced at me several times, just before pressing the shutter. As if they couldn't help it anymore, they tentatively asked me, "Miss, you don't look so good. Would you like to put on some lipstick?" I didn't get up, only asked, "Do you need to look good to take this photo?" The staff member explained, "That's not quite it either. It's just that newlyweds always hope to look their best in photos." I responded, "It's fine. Just take the photo as is." Beside me, Li Yanchuan's expression grew even darker. Whether he's happy or not has nothing to do with me. I looked into the camera and suddenly realized it had been quite a while since I last had my picture taken. This photo, once cropped, will serve perfectly as my funeral portrait. With that thought, I instinctively scooted a little further to the side. Just as the photo was being taken, Li Yanchuan suddenly reached out and pressed his hand over mine. A soft click, and the photo was formed. He really knows how to get under people's skin. After completing the formalities, I walked out of the Civil Affairs Bureau. Li Yanchuan suddenly reached into my pocket and took my phone. He simply entered my birthday and unlocked the screen. By the time I tried to grab my phone back, he had already opened the camera and taken a photo of the marriage certificate. I opened my WeChat again and pulled up the chat with Zhou Xi. That photo was about to be sent, and I was frantic, reaching out to snatch my phone back. Shortly after Zhou's mother had the accident, Zhou Xi was utterly exhausted, and it was only with great difficulty that the public scrutiny finally died down. I don't want him to know what I did and worry again. I reached for my phone, certain that Li Yanchuan wouldn't let go, but he let go. I grabbed the phone back, but lost my balance and suddenly fell to the ground. Blood again in my sight. This time, there was so much blood, more than I had ever seen before. I've been coughing up blood many times this past month, but this severe vomiting of blood is a first. In just a few seconds, my consciousness quickly faded. Li Yanchuan seemed to have picked me up. He is calling me, urgently, frantically, in panic. Then it seemed like he got on the bus, the moment my body sank into the seat. I lost consciousness. 25. When I woke up again, I was back in the hospital. The surroundings were very quiet, and I was getting in 4 drip in my hand. The faint sunlight filtering through the window made it impossible to tell what time it was. I stared at the sliver of light streaming in, and for the first time, I realized with crystal clarity that I was truly about to die very soon. I think it's time for me to leave. Die here. Let Li Yanchuan see me in my dying moments, whether he's happy or sad. I don't want to see either. Seeing me dead would only make Zhou Xi and his mother feel even more heartbroken, so I want to go somewhere farther away. I'm alone, and that's enough. I pulled the 4 needle out of my hand and, with great effort, finally managed to get out of bed. Luckily, the photo of my mom and me is still safe and sound in my coat pocket. Tucked into the pocket along with everything else was that marriage certificate. I took out the marriage certificate and tossed it onto the bedside. Table next to the hospital bed. This, no need to bring along. As I walked out of the ward and passed by the doctor's office in the hallway, I heard voices coming from inside. Li Yanchuan was sitting inside, speaking with the doctor. His back was to me, so I couldn't see the expression on his face yet. I saw his shoulders and the hands hanging by his sides trembling so distinctly. Seems like an extreme emotional breakdown. I heard the doctor say, "It can't be wrong. She came to get the diagnosis a month ago, already in the advanced stages of heart failure. There can't be many days left." As her husband, "You mean to say you still don't know?" Lu Yanchuan's voice trembled as he said, "I'll contact the best hospitals, both domestic and international. If all else fails, then we'll do a heart transplant. We'll definitely find a compatible heart." Then came the doctor's sigh. "Too late, given her current condition. She can no longer withstand a major surgery like a heart transplant." Actually, after receiving the diagnosis, I also tried to find a matching heart, but it was as difficult as reaching for the stars, and in the end, it was never found. Li Yanchuan's voice began to tremble violently. It's impossible. He braced himself against the desk and stood up unsteadily, as if he was about to turn around at any moment. I immediately stepped away from the office door, quickly got into the elevator, and left the hospital. As I walked to the curb to hail a taxi, I suddenly heard Li Yanchuan calling out to me from behind. I turned around and saw him running toward me from a distance. Over the years, he has always been cold toward me at his core, either the visible detachment on the surface, or the feigned warmth. It all just comes down to never truly caring. But at this moment, I watched him sprinting toward me like a madman. His face was a mix of pleading and despair. It's like he's truly sad, truly terrified of losing me. People always have illusions. Time and time again, I looked away, opened the taxi door, got in, and drove away. The moment the car door slammed shut, I heard Lu Yanchuan's hoarse, utterly despairing voice, "Nanchu, please, don't do this." I looked in the rearview mirror at his disheveled figure chasing after me. When I closed my eyes, he vanished. 26. I went abroad and visited a hospital there. Everything here looks unfamiliar, yet it brings me a sense of peace. I sent Zhou Xi a message, detailing my assets and such. Tell him the gallery is for him. As for my personal assets, half will be donated, and the other half will go to him and Auntie. I left the will regarding the distribution of my estate at the gallery, had it notarized by a lawyer, and asked Zhou Xi to handle it for me. I had thought about leaving some for my dad, but on second thought, he doesn't need money, nor does he need me. He has money, along with a new wife and kids. Even now, he still hasn't realized that I'm dying. Last night, while scrolling through my phone, I also saw Nanyua's Moments post. She, my dad, and their family of 3 booked a trip to Antarctica 6 months ago and set off yesterday. Before leaving, my dad sent me a message, "Wait for me to come back, and I'll bring you a gift." He always seems to like it this way. Every time after giving so much kindness to Nanyua, she occasionally remembers me out of the blue and throws me a little bit of favor like a handout. It seems that this could be called keeping things fair and balanced. Zhou Xi almost broke down crying on the phone when he heard I had left a suicide note. I laughed at his words. "You really don't need to worry about me. I already took care of all the procedures on the Swiss side, and now I'm here. Euthanasia is available here, with no pain before death, much better than back home." After coaxing him for a long time, I hung up the phone and let out a soft sigh. I really do want to go to Switzerland. After all, no one wants to suffer the pain before death, but it would take at least 4 months to complete all the procedures, including the visa and euthanasia paperwork over there. I won't live to see that day. I've begun to quietly spend my final days here. I can feel death drawing closer, yet my heart grows calmer instead. Even when coughing up blood or vomiting blood, I can calmly press the call button and ask the nurse to help clean me up. The young blonde nurse felt so sorry for me that she was on the verge of tears, urging me to call my family to be with me for my final journey. I lied to her, saying I had no family and was an orphan. Tears streamed down her face instantly. I quickly comforted her. "I'm not an orphan, I have a father." She turned to look at me, her eyes red and swollen. After a moment, as if realizing something, she cried even harder. "Oh, I came all the way to a foreign land to wait for death, yet I still can't escape having to comfort others." In the evening, Zhou Xi messaged me, saying, "Nan Chu, I made dumplings for you. I'll show you over video." 27. I never intended to contact him again, just let him think I've always been living here. On the day I die, he won't know about it, and there's no need for him to grieve for me. But looking at that message, I couldn't help answering the video call anyway. Over there, Josie was just walking out of the restaurant when he saw me answer the video call. He couldn't hide the excitement on his face. He held up a bag with a takeout container in front of me, struggling to keep his voice steady, but a tremor still slipped through. Nanchu, how about I take the fastest flight and bring you some dumplings? I looked at him without saying a word. He urged, didn't you say before that you missed the dumplings Auntie used to make every New Year's Eve when she was still alive? I asked a chef from a restaurant to teach me. I tried several versions, and this time it really tastes just like Auntie's. Nanchu, let me tell you something. The shot suddenly jolted violently, as if something had slammed into it. Then came the guilty apology of a strange man. So sorry, so sorry. The kid was being naughty and not watching where he was going. How much is this? I'll pay you back. I'll pay you. I can't see what's happening over there anymore. After what felt like an eternity of deathly silence, all I could hear was Josie's desperate, tearful roar. Is apology useful? Is apology useful? Why can't you watch where you're going? Why can't you just look where you're going? Then came the crying of a child. An adult's voice, somewhat displeased. I said I'd pay you back. He's just a child. He doesn't know any better. Why get so angry with him? It's just a lousy plate of dumplings. I'll pay you double. All right. A certain word rang in my ears. A sharp, sudden pain stabbed into my brain, like a spike driven in without warning. The sound of fists pounding flesh, followed by Josie's completely unhinged roar. How are you going to make this up to me? What do you know? My body is so cold that I can't stop shivering. A sudden chill seeped into my bones. I struggled to raise my voice. Josie, forget it. Just forget it. The commotion over there finally began to fade, slowly, ever so slowly. It was a long while before I heard Josie's voice again. Nanchu, I'll wrap up another portion for you. It'll be quick. Just wait for me. Nanchu, please tell me where you are, okay? 28. I shook my head gently. No thanks. I don't want to eat. I'm doing well here, and when I have time, I'll call you. Don't worry. Josie's face once again disappeared from the screen. I heard his faint and helpless sobbing. But you can't be alone at a time like this. Back when Auntie was still here, you were so spoiled. Seeing you like this now, how heartbroken would Auntie be? Nanchu, we feel for you too. My eyes are stinging. I tried to curl my lips into a smile, but in the end, I couldn't manage it. Blood is pouring out of my mouth. I dodged the camera and wiped my face haphazardly, trying to steady my breathing. I whispered, it's really okay. Lately, the doctors had me on porridge to rest up. Dumplings were already off the menu. Besides, I'd never really been much of a liar, so when I spoke again, it felt a bit off. To be honest, I don't really like eating dumplings that much anymore. From the moment I learned that the dumplings Li Yanchuan made for me with his own hands were actually just yen 19.9 frozen ones, I never had dumplings again. I've seen dumplings many times in restaurants, on the street, and in supermarkets. Even when I felt like having one, I never bought it again. Josie's sobs finally spilled out. Nanchu, I just don't want you to have too many regrets. I know what he means. He said that my mother's passing was my regret, and my father gradually drifting away was also my regret. Li Yanchuan is a regret, and those 7 years are a regret for me too. Too much of everything. Blood is filling my mouth, and my nose is also bleeding. No matter how much I wipe, it just won't come clean. The bitterness filled my mouth, making it impossible to speak another word. My vision was fading rapidly, and in the last shred of consciousness, I let out a soft chuckle. Hey, I gotta go now. The nurse is calling me again. Hospitals are such a hassle. Can't even stay out for a walk too long. Time to head back to the ward. Josie urgently called out to me from the other side. Nanchu. I cut him off. All right. I'll get in touch with you another day, but the doctor hasn't really been letting me use my phone lately. Next time, I might have to call you a bit later. I can't hear what they're saying over there anymore. 29. I ended the call in a blur. Everything went black, and he fell out of the wheelchair. The front gate was suddenly pushed open. Through the blur, I vaguely saw a figure rushing. I watched as the figure drew closer and closer. So anxious, so terribly anxious. Only when I was extremely close did I barely make out the deathly pale color of his face, his features twisted with sheer terror. He lunged at me with utter despair and agonizing pleading, as if grasping for something most precious. Who is he? I can no longer see clearly, nor can I recognize anything. He reached out, so panicked and so desperate, to grab my hand, getting closer and closer. The moment before he touched me, I closed my eyes, and my consciousness faded away completely. Extra story, Lu Yanchuan 1. Nanchu is dead. I watched her die right before my eyes. Just a little more, just a little more, and I could have held her hand. I could have told her, in the moment before she left, I love her, I truly love her, but in the end, she never gave me that chance again. She hates me even in the final moments of life. They no longer wish to be touched by me. I held her in my arms, feeling her body slowly losing its warmth. That's all. I've truly lost everything, absolutely everything. My wife, my home, the only person who could be with me, too. I returned to my country with Nanchu's ashes. The moment I got off the plane, I saw Zhou Xi from afar. He looked at me, so calm, yet so painful. He stared at me until he was very close, then said, "Give me the ashes." I clutched the urn tightly to my chest, eyeing him warily. Nanchu is my wife, in life or in death. She belongs to me, wife. Zhou Xi slowly repeated the two words. He gradually let out a laugh, yet his eyes reddened. Lu Yanchuan, Lin Zhao has been severely burned and is still lying in the emergency room. Instead of putting on this fake display of affection, you should go see your lover first. My mind was hazy, a fog clouding my thoughts, and I couldn't make sense of his words. Who is Lin Zhao? Why should I go see her? I thought carefully, pondering this strange question. 3. After a long while, I finally remembered. Lin Zhao is the barmaid at the bar, with her family in a dire situation. She would do anything to make money. I first met her over 7 years ago at a business dinner, where the partner was trying to push her onto me. I ignored it, but the other party wasn't willing to give up and repeatedly found opportunities to let Lin Zhao get close to me. When I was drunk, I deliberately let Lin Zhao see me into the car. It wasn't until I lost my temper and told her to stay away from me that the business partner finally backed off. Nanchu's half-sister Nan, you must have seen or heard something. She mistakenly thought I liked Lin Zhao, so later, after I married Nan Chu, Lin Zhao, no one knew whose child she was carrying, went to the hospital for an abortion. Just then, Nanua happened to see it. Nanua secretly came to me with an innocent look on her face, tattling on someone. Sister Nanchu knew all along that it was your child. Brother Yanchuan, not only did they refuse to tell you, they also forced Lin Zhao to miscarry the child. I feel like she really has something wrong with her head. I didn't take it to heart at all. It wasn't until that very evening, when I went to a restaurant for a business dinner, that I suddenly saw Nanchu together with Zhou Xi. They ate together, chatting and laughing. I know Zhou Xi, he's the illegitimate son my father has always been obsessed with, but I had no idea before that he was actually on such good terms with my newlywed wife, Nanchu. Nanchu never mentioned him to me. Zhou Xi didn't even bother to show up at our wedding. I happened to pass by that private room and overheard their conversation. Zhou Xi let out a scornful snicker. Marrying someone like that, I can't believe you'd stoop so low. My heart skipped a beat for no reason. Then Nanchu laughed nonchalantly again. Just having fun. It's not like I love him anyway. When I get bored of this someday, I'll file for divorce. People came and went in the hallway, but I stood frozen in place, unable to move for a long time. At that moment, it felt as if the blood in my veins had begun to freeze. I truly love Nanchu. I genuinely fell in love with her, and that's why I married her on our wedding night. Nanchu saw a photo of Lin Zhao that had been slipped into my wallet by someone unknown. She angrily confronted me, as if she were truly jealous, truly in love with me. I love seeing her get jealous. It shows how much she cares about me, so I just went along with the mistake and half-jokingly referred to Lin Zhao as my ex. Taking the chance, I confessed, saying that there would only be her, Nanchu, in my heart. But it turned out she didn't love me. Through the private room door, I watched them laughing inside. My father's illegitimate son, and my wife, they talk about me as if I were a joke, a plaything. So, marrying me was just to help her friend Zhou Xi get even, wasn't it? Marry me, then divorce me, making me a complete laughingstock. Hatred and resentment drowned all my reason for it. That night, as I got home and opened the door, it suddenly hit me, the words Nanua had said to me during the day, regarding Lin Zhao, the child that was miscarried. I think it's perfect. Let's play then. No. One is getting off easy. Before Nanshu could file for divorce against me, before she and Zhou Xi could get their wish, let them first make a laughingstock of themselves. That night, I confronted Nanshu in a fit of rage, accused her of hurting my beloved and killing my unborn child. I watched the expression on Nanshu's face: shock, disappointment, disbelief, then comes sorrow and pain at that moment. I felt the sweet satisfaction of revenge, yet it was mingled with a raw, bloody ache, as if my heart were being torn apart. I told myself I wouldn't be sad, I wouldn't soften. She and Zhou Xi treated me like a fool, a joke, so I was the one who filed for divorce, over and over again, watching Nanshu rage, break down, lose control, and become hysterical. I thought, it was me who brought it up first, me who stopped loving her first. That way, when she wanted a divorce, I wouldn't seem so pathetic and ridiculous, right? But I hate her, yet I can't help but love her. I want to leave her, yet I can't stop. Depending on the days I spent with her, I'm so lonely. No one has ever truly been there for me except her. And so we went on, arguing countless times, wrestling with each other endlessly. Lin Zhaozhao took my money and became my tool for repeatedly taking revenge on Nanshu. 7 years of marriage, and we've been tormenting each other. Neither of us has ever had it easy. 7 years, and we've both grown tired, I think. Forget it, let's call it quits. Should I really bind someone who doesn't love me to a lifetime of misery? All because of hatred. We got divorced. On the very night of the divorce, Nanshu brought Zhou Xi home to spend the night. For 2 weeks straight, they went on a trip to Cloud City, and Nanshu couldn't wait to block me on all my contact channels. Can't you wait that long? Sure enough, they were never clean from the start. I still can't let it go. I deliberately pushed Zhou Xi and his mother into the whirlpool of public opinion, using a forged painting. Actually, I never really hated Zhou Xi and his mother that much. My parents had a marriage of convenience, never loved each other, nor me, and always did their own thing. My mother later passed away simply due to an accident. Nanshu's heart softened as expected, and she agreed to our remarriage. But then, right in front of me, outside the Civil Affairs Bureau, she vomited blood so painfully, I watched her collapse to the ground. A pool of blinding blood spreading around her, the color slowly drained from her face. In that instant, a suffocating, overwhelming terror seized me, a chilling, ominous premonition. Slowly, like a creeping vine, it climbed up my neck and silently choked the breath out of me. It's not my imagination. I took Nanshu to the hospital, only to learn the news that left me utterly devastated. My wife, she's dying. 5. Nanshu is missing. As I stepped out of the doctor's office, I watched helplessly as she disappeared down the hallway. I dashed after it like crazy, watching helplessly as the elevator doors slid shut with a final gap closing right before my eyes. A sudden premonition struck me, a terrifying premonition. This might be the last time I ever see her. She is leaving, going to a place where I will never find her for the rest of my life. With all the strength I had left, I chased after them out of the hospital, but still, I was just one step away. I watched her get into the taxi and leave without a hint of reluctance. I begged hoarsely, screamed, but she refused to look at me even once. I fell to my knees, but staggered back up and kept chasing after him. Please, I'm begging you, don't do this. But I couldn't catch up. I found the media and knelt before the cameras under the spotlight, begging the public to help me find my wife, but no one could find her anymore. I went to Zhou Xi and begged him to tell me where Nanshu had gone. I think I can forgive anything now. Please, let me see her one last time and walk with her through this final journey. She has been my wife for 7 years. The truth is, I've always loved her. Zhou Xi looked at me with such an icy gaze. He laughed again. Forgive, Li Yanchuan, what does Nanshu need your forgiveness for? My mind was thrown into utter chaos. Zhou Xi's words grew increasingly faint and distant. On the night Nanshu said she didn't love you, Lin Zhaozhao went to see her. Lin Zhaozhao said she was pregnant with your child but had a miscarriage, and now she can never have children again. Beg Nanshu to take pity on her and give you back to her. That night, Nanshu was heartbroken. That's why she talked tough, saying she didn't love you, that it was just a game. When she left later, she had sobered up a bit and said that Lin Zhaozhao might be a con artist, so she still needed to go back and ask you. But that night after she went back, what did you say to her? What did you say to her after she got back that night? How did you tell her? How do you say that? I said she hurt the people I love and killed the child I had with Lin Zhaozhao, but no, that's not it. Not at all. I shook my head, staggering. He took a step back. Impossible. How could Lin Zhaozhao say something like that? Zhou Xi looked indifferent. Who knows? I heard her dad's a gambling addict and her mom's a lunatic. Maybe life has just been too hard. It's rare to run into a patron like you. I couldn't help but indulge in a little wishful thinking. It suddenly came back to me. During that time, Lin Xiaoxiao had approached me many times to show goodwill. She even tactfully said to me, "If Mr. Liu prefers, I can stay outside and I certainly won't disrupt your normal life." At the time, I thought she was just drunk and making a scene. Am I out of my mind for being into her? A dirty thing that can be with anyone. But it turned out she wasn't just drunk and acting out. She had truly lost her mind, and on my wedding night, a photo was inexplicably stuffed into my wallet. I want to say something. A sudden churning in my stomach, followed by uncontrollable, violent vomiting. So that night, Nanshu had actually wanted to ask me the truth, a truth about Lin Xiaoxiao and me, but I rubbed salt deep into her wounds, turning her doubts and disbelief into undeniable truth. So that's it. So that's how it was that night. All it would have taken was one honest word. Our 7 years of marriage didn't have to be so miserable. My wife, my beloved, too late, too late. 6. I finally tracked down Nanshu's whereabouts. I rushed there as fast as I could, just a few steps away. He lunged desperately toward her. She looked at me, a calm, puzzled look. I have so much, so very much to tell her, and I can't wait to say it. Like many years ago, those dumplings were once made by my own hands. Out of sheer bitterness, I deliberately pretended to be drunk so she would overhear those words, make her believe that I married her only to use her and take revenge on my father. I mistakenly thought those dumplings were just casually bought from the supermarket. I mistakenly thought I never loved her. I rushed over, desperate to hold her, choo-choo, choo-choo, so close now. Her gaze was still as baffled as ever. She doesn't recognize me anymore. In her final moments, I still had so much I wanted to say to her, but she no longer recognizes me. I reached out to touch her, hurried and flustered, but at the very moment before they touched, she closed her eyes. In the end, you simply don't want to see me anymore, nor be touched by me. It's over. Just like that, it's over. In her mind, she's forever stuck on the idea that I never loved her, stuck on the belief that I used and deceived her. I love Lin Xiaoxiao, and I had a child with someone else. In her mind, I will always hate her. I held her, trembling all over, as despair flooded over me like a raging torrent. I wept and sobbed, my voice choked with grief. Don't do this. Please, don't do this. Choo-choo, at least look at me again. Just let me say one thing. But it's too late, far too late. In her memory, I will forever hate her. I held her tightly, feeling her warmth fade away bit by bit. Then, together with her, I drifted into a deep sleep. 7. Nanshu's father came to see me. He finally wrapped up his month-long trip to Antarctica, bringing a small gift, ready to bestow it upon Nanshu, but he didn't find her, so he came to ask me, "Yan Chuan, do you know where Nanshu went?" I looked everywhere but couldn't find her, and I couldn't get in touch with her either. "You're her husband. You must know, right?" I nodded and said, "Upstairs." He let out a long, deep sigh of relief, like a stranded fish finally back in the water, able to breathe again. So, he had a feeling about it too, didn't he? I took him upstairs and then handed him Nanshu's urn. After that night, Nanshu's father went insane. It is said that a sudden, severe mental shock triggered schizophrenia, leaving the person in a state of confusion. He was admitted to a psychiatric hospital, where he started clutching a tattered rag doll all day long, calling out "Xiao Chu" over and over again. He never got better. We are all the same. It is only after losing something that we suddenly realize what it was we truly lost. Only then did I realize how important that person was. Like water, like air, you never know how painful something is until you lose it. Nanshu's father went mad, leaving the Nan family company in complete chaos. The executives fled with the money, creditors came knocking at the door, and the Nan family collapsed. Nanshu's stepmother and Nan, you couldn't bear the immense pressure, fled by car late at night. Word has it there was a serious crash due to heavy fog, and it's still unknown whether they're dead or alive. That same night, Lin Xiaoxiao, who had been severely burned by her psychologically twisted benefactor, couldn't hold on and died in the hospital. 7. I went to see Nanshu's father one last time. He could only calm down when holding that rag doll. His eyes sparkle with joy when he braids the doll's hair and dresses it in beautiful clothes. I couldn't help asking him, "Did you really see Choo-Choo?" It's been half a year since Choo-Choo passed away. Suddenly, I truly and desperately longed to see her again. Father Nan looked at me and replied with utmost seriousness, "Of course, Xiao Chu is right here. Xiao Chu, come say hello to uncle." His memories were frozen in the time when Nan Chu was very young. Only then had he truly treated her with kindness. I nodded and said, "It's time for me to go see her too." Leaving the psychiatric hospital, I picked up the dumplings I had made myself and went to find my choo-choo. I went up to the rooftop of the company building, and through the hazy mist, I saw Nanchu's face frowning. She scolded me angrily, "Liar, I'll never trust you again." I climbed over the railing and held her in my arms, a faint voice, scattered in the wind, "I'm sorry, the end."